What's up, everybody? This is Jeff. Today we're going to talk about Hilo, or the Hilo side of the island, as people like to call it. That's Hamakua, Hilo, Puna. So, on that side of the island, you have cheap land. You also have flat land, which, if you have ever been to Hawaii, you know that, or on the Big Island, you know that it's four volcanoes, and most of the time it's just downhill from the peak all the way down till the ocean, and then even then it goes really deep into the water, and that's how you get pelagic waters out there. No matter which way you go, I mean, it's just sloping always. But over on the Hilo side, there is more flat land than anywhere else on the Big Island. Um, with that being said, there are some things to know about the risk. Probably the big thing that I would like to point out about the risk is hurricanes, lava flow, and tsunamis. So there's a risk of three natural disasters that will come to that area that you will always have to be aware of. Hurricanes, they come from um, the Mexican Riviera, which is down there by Puerto Vallarta, um, Acapulco, maybe about 1,000 miles off the coast is where they kind of brew. And then they shoot across the Pacific. By the time they get to Hawaii, they usually have one or two directions that they're going to go. They're either going to go south or north because of the volcanoes having enough, like basically energy or something that pushes them away. It's like a shield. So sometimes they would call them hurricane killers, and that that stable air right there causes a problem for the hurricanes when they come. But usually there's still enough to get Hilo, or that side of the island. Kona will be safe because the hurricane killers will have already destroyed that hurricane, but the brunt force of it's going to come to Hilo and Puna and that side of the island. So, yeah, I mean, a category 1, a category 2 on an island will wreak havoc. Sometimes most of the time it's going to be a tropical storm by the time it gets here, because that pressure front is going to be able to really slow it down. And it's rarely ever a category 1 or a category 2, but a cat 1, a cat 2, anything above that obviously would be really devastating for that side of the island. Serious. Flooding is a big problem there, as we've seen with the tsunamis that happened in, I think it was 1948, 1963. Two tsunamis pretty much flattened Hilo, wreaked havoc. And then the lava flow. Recently, the town of Pahoa was threatened by the lava flow. So, it could come all the way down to Hilo, but I don't know about that. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but I know that Kapoho and Kalapana, they've all fallen victim to devastating lava flows in the past. In the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, So it's happening pretty much every decade. It even happened recently where Pahoa was evacuated, the whole town of Pahoa. I was living in Hawaiian beaches at the time, and we were worried that if it was going to come all the way down there, what were we going to do? And if you were on the other side of the road when the lava crossed, how are you going to get out of that pocket of land? Because Chain of Craters Road is closed. It doesn't go through the park. It doesn't go through the lava field. And especially now that the new lava flow has gone over, that road is just completely, for about half a mile, covered. So, natural disasters. The second thing to talk about is going to be the people that are in that area. There is a term that people use frequently in that area. They call them punatics. Typically a punatic is someone who's on ice. And in that area, people do get on drugs quite frequently. We're not considering cannabis to be a drug, are we? So it's ice, heroin, shrooms, a lot of ice heads in that area. Those are what they call punatics. Now, I don't know if you want to live in that area because of that. That's like the number one thing. I mean, I see people on Facebook constantly on the Big Island Popo page, on the Big Island. Uh, there's a couple groups that just talk about like advisories, um, crime. They're the biggest pages on the island, and then so that's the most popular thing that people talk about is all the crime on the Big Island, in particular in that area. Not so much over here in Kona, but over in that pocket of town or on that pocket of the island, there's it's known for crime. So you got I said, yeah, people are complaining quite frequently because their kids are getting out of school and they got bums just lined up drinking 40s Old English, whatever they drink, just 40s, smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, cussing, not caring about anything, and their kids are getting off school, so people are like, hey, don't be doing this, do this elsewhere. And these people, they keep coming back, they have just no common decency. They're kind of like a menace to society. I mean, Pahoa's recently almost got burned down, the whole town of Pahoa, so it's a problem in that area. Obviously I'm the one who's reporting on it. I'm not here to gray the line on the truth. It's the truth. There is the crime problem in Puna and Pahoa, and people are really disappointed about it. They're disgruntled about it, and it just the population of these people on these drugs just keeps growing. I mean, people want to live in the forest out there. They just go there to like live in the forest, off the grid, and they kind of become like jungle men, jungle women. Like dreadlocks, no shade, no hygiene, and they prefer to live like that because to them that's more organic. So it's a really organic culture. Just in case you're hearing all these noise, I do live in the town, the city of Kona. It's a town, but sometimes it sounds like a city, especially as these people who've come from the mainland to evade their problems and they come land over here and they cause problems here, wreak havoc on this island, and then give all these mainlanders a bad name because the locals are like, what the heck is going on with all these crazy cooked out mainland people keep moving over here, howlies. So causing problems for the people, the Aina, the land. The Hawaiians, they're cool with you until you start messing with the family, the Ohana, taking their land, messing with the land. That's when you got problems. So it's not the locals so much out there in that area that are causing the problems. It's these transient people who come out here for like 2 years before the transient community kicks them out. Sometimes they get kicked out less than that. But with all that being said, there is cheap land in Volcano. It does rain there. It rains a lot. You can grow pretty much anything in that kind of jungle environment. It is close to Volcano National Park, which is on a fog-free day one of the most beautiful places you'll ever be. I mean, the sky, the air, it's fresh. Like I said, on a fog-free day. That means when the wind is pushing the fog out, not in. That stuff does carry sometimes. But yeah, Volcano, Mountain View, beautiful. I mean, Keahoe's beautiful. Puna, amazing. Just wild fruit everywhere. It's a true jungle out there. You got beautiful tide pools, Champagne Ponds, Kapoho tide pools. Hilo's got some really nice places. Richardson's Beach, Hilo Bay. You can't really swim in Hilo Bay, but you do have those little beach parks like around Richardson's that you can go to. You'll see like huge turtles, huge pufferfish. Like pufferfish are usually this big, like maybe 5 inches. You'll see some pufferfish like this big. Turtles that are way bigger than the Kona side, like huge turtles. There must not be a lot of tiger sharks over there or something. But I have heard that there is hammerheads over there. So the hammerheads are in Hilo Bay. I'm sure there's some tigers, but the water's murky over there. Hilo Bay has this big break wall. They said that there used to be waves so big in Hilo that they were like the size of North Shores. But when they built that break wall, now it stops all the waves from making it, a famous surf location. But it used to be really popular for huge waves, and I could see why. I mean, if you look at any surf report, Hilo's always got the Kona side beat on size. But surfing in general is better on the Kona side because there's better locations and more consistency. And the Hilo side, that side over there, I mean, you can swim at man, how do you say it? Honoli. I can't quite remember exactly how you say it. And then Pohoiki, which is where Isakale Beach is, and there's a couple other spots over there in Hilo. I haven't spent much time around that surf scene, but I do know Pohoiki and Honolii. I think I'm saying it right, but I don't know. Those are the two spots that really go. Pohoiki, probably the best spot to surf on the island. I've never seen so much powerful waves than I've seen over there as often as I do. I mean, it doesn't matter north or waves coming from the north or the south. Even though it's a southern destination, that place is always getting big waves. There's some other areas, they're just not as flat, there's not like a harbor like there is at Pohoiki, but like South Point has some areas, even Green Sands, but we'll save that for another day. Trade winds, it's nice. I would say that Keauhou is a nice place to live. It's close enough to town, but out farther enough. If you go north, there's some really cool places just north of Hilo that you can check out as far as living. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go all the way up to like Lapahoehoe, there's just a couple places up there, Ninole. You just got to really take a look in that area, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy that beautiful side of the island. There's the rainforest over there. That's a botanical garden, and the reason I want to really emphasize on the end part that Hilo is a really beautiful place. It's a shame that the people have the transient population that's taken up a home there has really caused some problems there and scared some people out of town. And mostly it's because of drugs, meth. So do not come to the Big Island if you plan to do any meth. Do not come to Hawaii because you're not really going to be positive for this community. In fact, I would recommend don't ever do ice. I don't do ice. I wouldn't do ice. I've seen people on ice. They just don't seem like they're in their stable frame of mind. So other than that, and the natural disasters, which we already went into, unfortunately, those are out of our control. Those will come, and you got to be prepared. That's why if you're gonna build strong and build up out of the path of the wave and the hurricane when it comes in, coastal flooding and everything. And even if you're up, the higher up you are, you're also out of the way for the lava, because lava goes downhill also. So I guess if you're going to come to Hilo, try to be above like a certain elevation, then you're safe. Even the crime is down there on the flats. So there you go. Have a good one. Subscribe to the channel if you like.